Hey everyone, welcome back. My next video is going to be on how to make this Ponderosa pine here, but I've changed a couple things in my process and I'm just waiting for a few supplies to come, so I thought in the meantime I will just do an overview of where I'm planting that tree. So what you see here is a 2-foot by 8-foot wide module that I'm making. It's Fremo standard. And it's actually using the Calgary Fremo standard, the Calgary Model Railroad Club. And what I've done is I'm just using this basically as a test bed, just to try a bunch of everything really. It's been a while since I've done any meaningful scenery techniques and things like that. It's located in a approximate 13 by 13 room, 13 by 12. It's probably a little bit more accurate. And what I want to do is obviously just make a permanent layout in here that goes around the walls. But for now, I'm going to just work on this module to help sort of get the hang of everything again. So let's start at this end. So this is the tree. This is the Ponderosa tree. I just made it. I'm thinking it needs some changes. You know, the limbs are made with 22 gauge wire, and I bought some Florist wire, which is 26 gauge. So it'll be a little bit thinner, a little bit better. But I want to do some more limbs on it. And Ponderosa pines actually have more of a rounded top than what I've done here. So I need more limbs. And what I've done is I've ordered some balsa wood. That's the hardwood dowel that I use there. And I've ordered some balsa wood. And that will allow me to just simply skewer the limbs using the 26 gauge wire. I'll just be able to push it right into balsa wood. With this hardwood, I have to pre-drill all the holes, so it's a little bit of a challenge and takes a really long time. So I'm just going to wait for those supplies to come in. They shouldn't be too long. But basically, what I've got here is a 2-track module all the way down there. So it's a double-track main with a crossover. And these are Fast Tracks number 10 hand-laid turnouts, and I've made them all there. The main line is code 83, and the siding here, the grain siding, is code 55. So what I've done is created a sort of a branch line industry is what I'm trying to do here. So this is obviously a small grain supplier. And the module is only obviously partly done. I'm going to put some water in here at some point. That'll probably be one of the last things I do because I don't want to get anything into the finish on the water, like glue or, you know, static grass, that kind of thing. Working this way here, I've got the hill for scenery that still needs to be done. It needs to be grassed, some rocks, and some more of those trees that I'm making. Over here, I was just playing around with static grass when I first started. I need to fill in some of these gaps here with a little bit of dirt. What you're seeing for ground cover right now is I used some homemade Sculptamold, and I painted it with a tan color and then sprinkled on sort of a tan colored grout to give that sort of a light brown look. But what I'm wanting to do is add a little bit more texture. So I'm going to get some local dirt and sift it and get it nice and clean. Mix it with some of that tan so that it's lighter. And the tan, mix it with the tan grout. And then that tan grout will give it a little bit of anchoring strength as well as some texture. I need to make more of the sort of sagebrush bushes, I guess. I've done some. I'm going to change up how I've done it. I brushed these a little bit with some robin's egg blue to kind of make them a little bit more turquoisey in color. And I'm thinking I'm going to try some that are sprayed instead. I'm trying to basically, if you look at this photo here, I'm trying to just sort of replicate that sort of bluish green, light turquoisey sort of sage bush there. Yeah, so that's all that stuff. So that's still coming along. Lots more work to do there. To come to here, we've got an underpass. So this is going to be a road right through here, 2-lane road. And it's going to be concrete retaining walls, concrete bridge structure. And the bridge is wide enough that a maintenance away vehicle can go by. So there'll be chain link fence just protecting each side there. And there's the UPS truck with the Christmas presents that didn't come on time. And as you come around this side a little bit more, my last video, I went over how to make that derail sign there that you see. And this here is the derail. So this derail actually operates, so it flips over. So if you got cars you want to bring in and out, you can actually just flip it back and forth like that, and it'll work. And they pass right over it. It's Alexander Hayes derail, and Alexander scale models Hayes type derail, and it's been heavily modified, cut up. I've made a sort of a pin and drilled a hole in it so that it can flip and pivot on that pin. As we come this way, we've got a tie pile. These things are just sitting here from my scenery work. I'm not putting an electrical cabinet in the middle of the road. Got this new grain truck that I need to weather up and make it look not so shiny. It's a pretty decent detail for what it cost. It didn't cost very much. And then there's the grain elevator. So this grain elevator dates back to about 1996. I bought it, actually maybe 95. I bought it so long ago and never actually used it, and it sat at my parents' place forever. And then one day we brought it home and decided, oh, let's make it work. So I built it, and it's one of the first things I did scenery-wise for this module. Some things I need to do though is I need to sort of get it to blend in a little bit more, you know, where these gaps are, right there. Yeah. What I did when I actually did the scenery around this thing is I put a cardboard template down so that, see if I can just wiggle this free. You can see that there. So that the plaster didn't go where the building was going to sit. And that way the building would sit just a little bit into the ground, so it didn't look like it was floating. Let's pivot this way. And we've got the second building in this series. And it's also built so that it actually plugs into the scenery, into the plaster all around it, and that also makes it look like it's not floating, so it's just sitting there. So I still got to do a little bit more rust work on this building, on the roof. It's just a little bit more I want to do on it, just to blend it in a bit better. I did wire some lights in, so these are Woodland Scenics, just plug and play or whatever they call it, just plug lighting. Another one here. And then in the roof of this building, up there, there's also a light that shines down. It's just stuck on. And this building has a light on the inside as well. So it shines out that window and also out the doors that are partly open where that hopper car are. I've also got enough capacity and I bought some lights. I'm going to run them all the way down here and put them under the underpass. So they'll be on the underside there so that it's lit up at night. Now if we come around back this way, I'll just move this freight car, derailed freight car. And there you go. You can see the doors are modeled in the open position, so the light will shine out when the lights are turned on. Still got some ballasting work to do. I want to weather this ballast. This ballast is basically 2 parts fine Woodland Scenics gray ballast, 1 part coarse Woodland Scenics gray ballast, and 1 part fine brown. And just trying to replicate sort of the mixture of granules and granule sizes that are seen on the CP and CN right-of-ways here in BC. On the siding, it's just fine gray. And so yeah, I plan to take some rail brown, and maybe some darker versions of that, and just spray it along the rail. The rail has already been sprayed brown, but I'm going to spray it over the ballast just to kind of weather it, give it a bit of a dirty, oily appearance. So that still needs to be done. Some of this ballast that has been laid still needs to be cleaned up a bit. I haven't got all the granules that are stuck to the ties cleaned off just yet. This is just sitting here as well. It needs a home, and just a little bit more weathering for that one as well. I think the next thing we should do is have a look. Well, actually, you'll notice there's no fascia. There's going to be 1/4 inch fascia, MDF fascia on both sides. And then once I've done that, I'll obviously have to, fill in the gaps with some more rock and get that all nice and sealed. But because I'm going to have water here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a bead of caulk, just thin, clear caulking there. Put the fascia on just to create like a dam. And I'll be able to bust that off if I have to get it off, but I shouldn't ever need to remove the fascia on this because it's not blocking anything critical. The legs on this module come off. They're just held on by wing nuts. So those 2 bolts there are wing nuts. Those 2 bolts down there are wing nuts. And everything is made out of birch plywood. So this, actually, birch or maple? I think it's maple actually. And I couldn't find any 2x2s that were square at the lumber yard. So I just ripped some plywood and made my own 2x2s. So looking underneath, it's a bit of a rat's nest right now because I haven't got any of the wiring done or finalized or hooked up or anything like that. We've got the Digitrax, I can't remember what it's called, but it's the Wi-Fi adapter. So basically it allows me to run trains from my phone. And we've got frog juicer there. So that's enough to do all the frogs on my layout. There's only 5 turnouts, so it has room for 1 more, I believe. I've got tortoise turnouts for everything. Crossovers are wired together, so you only have to throw 1 switch and they'll move in unison. My UP5 is hanging, there it is. It's hanging down. Just waiting for the fascia to be built, and then I'll make a hole for it and stick it through that and mount it properly. All of these wires were sort of ad hoc wires. Because this was just a test module, I didn't invest a lot of money in new wire, so I just kind of just made it work, basically. The only new wire I did was for the main line bus lines there, and for the accessory bus line as well. And at the end there, I've got my extra loops, so I can plug into a Fremo module if I want to. If I want to go to a show, I could do that. So that way this module isn't all for naught. It was just a test to see how I could do stuff, if I could still model very well. Yeah, so then the plan is to obviously just go all the way around this room at some point. And I do want to do, right now, I still want to do basically the BC interior, Thompson River Canyon, the Kamloops, that kind of region of the country. And, so it'll feature a lot of scenery, sort of like that in this room. Now, it's not going to be the canyon in the room because I just don't have enough room in 12x13 to get anything done. And I do. Okay, yeah, so that's it. I'm hoping to get these trees built in the next couple of weeks. It just depends how long it takes the stuff to arrive. I'll get those trees made, and I'll do a tutorial on how I'm going to do that. There's just a few steps to do it, and it'll be probably an interesting one to watch. But yeah, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll try and get back to everybody I can. Thanks again.